And welcome to Onesies, a podcast of one season wonders and blunders. I'm your podcast boffin, Andrew.
And I'm Emily.
Wow, wow, wow. Guess who just found out what boffin means? Both
Andrew.
of us. Both of us right now before we recorded. Because the episode doesn't explain it, because Dracula the series is smarter than we are. It did better on its SATs.
It did better on its SATs, but also it's a show about vampires. I just assumed it was a portmanteau of coffin and something.
Yeah, it was Chris and Sophie's date heading to the boffin stage.
Gross.
Zing!
Gross.
Okay, buckle up because there's going to be gross. We are talking about Dracula the series, the 1990 syndicated epic from Proto Hallmark Entertainment. We are on episode 4, right? The Boffin.
The Boffin.
And did you manage to get a list of 3 things?
So just kind of random things. I'm going to talk about right away Zazie dans le Metro. I'm going to talk about, I'm just taking it high class before we fall back down to close-up knee kick, which was unnecessary, and delayed action.
Okay. Mine will be, oh God. So we'll do some vampire lore.
Okay.
Because there's a couple good things for that. We will do Chris and his Canadian accent.
Oh.
And just bow ties. We'll just have to do bow ties.
Cool. So we open, if you don't mind me taking this on, because this is my first point, with Maximilian walking down the streets of Luxembourg, or wherever the fuck he is, being followed by somebody.
A man. A grown man. Suspicious grown man is noticeably following Max.
With a mustache and a trench coat.
And a hat and a bow tie.
And Max keeps looking over his shoulder, and the guy cleverly makes an excuse to check the time with a group of people he's passing, and then whatever. So have you ever seen the film Zazie dans le Metro?
I have not.
Okay. So it is a what's his name? Mr. Candice Bergen. You fucking know. You know.
Candice Bergen, isn't she married to William Shatner? What are you talking about?
No, she's not. She's not married to William Shatner, is she?
No. Well, you didn't know Louis Malle.
Louis Malle. Okay, thank you. It's a Louis Malle movie about a little girl who goes to visit her aunt and uncle in Paris, and she just runs around the city, and she's adorable and she's fantastic. It's very, very cute, unlike this. But the whole movie, she is literally being chased by a pedo and outsmarting the pedo. Like, it is not
a Disney movie.
It's not a Disney movie. But she so that's what this reminded me of, except very much less charming. Max is less charming than Zazie, and it was just creepy. Not that the other thing isn't completely creepy, but it's like child Amelie being chased by a pedophile is Zazie dans le Metro, whereas this is just creepy kid being followed by creepy adult, little MAGA hat wearing kid being chased down the street by somebody who looks like, who is that film critic? With the big hair and the mustache.
Gene Shalit.
A Gene Shalit looking motherfucker. The titular boffin, we soon discover. So for some reason, he's following this guy, or this guy's following him. Was there ever any explanation as to why this guy was following him?
He saw him wearing the garlic and knew that he...
Right.
But we don't see him seeing the garlic, so it's like we don't know if the boffin was watching Max go to the bathroom and notice the garlic.
Gross.
Or what.
Okay, so yes. Anyway, it ends up being innocent in that he
Not yet. No, it ends with him pulling the garlic off of Max's garlic necklace, which is this huge, weird, like... these people in Luxembourg think these Canadians pretending to be Americans who've moved to Luxembourg are just the weirdest fucking kids, which they're right. So the guy pulls it off his neck and says, "This has outlived its usefulness."
Yeah.
And then we
So I guess the audience is then left to wonder if he's a vampire.
This whole show is basically Max being set up to be murdered horrifically. And then it never happens, and it's always worse for it.
And then we cut to the beautiful, wonderful theme music and opening credits.
That's true. We do have the opening credits before we get to the house.
Yeah, which is beautiful and wonderful.
So now the house, where we kick off our subplot for the episode. Chris and Sophie are playing on a handheld video game thing, and they're talking about going into the dungeon. Now, it's all double entendre for dating.
It's all double speak, and occasionally they're talking about dating, and occasionally they're talking about the game, but it's all just a big metaphor for them wanting to go out on a date, I guess.
Sophie is talking about how being an aggressive American girl who asks a boy out, and it goes on, and I'm just going to say it now. This subplot would have been less obvious than American Pie's band camp thing. Like, that's what this is being set up as.
Yeah.
The entire time.
It's
Sophie is like, it's so weird. And then they like cut it before the resolution to even this scene.
Yeah.
Like, it's just... Because, I mean, Mia Kirshner's laying it on. Like, she's just like...
And Chris is feeling very awkward. He is cringing into himself. Like, he is... Yeah.
She has basically said, "I want to ask you out on a date. Would you say yes?"
Yeah.
And he is like, "Ooh, I don't know what I would do if a girl ever asked me out on a date. I wish one would." Cut to Max bringing home his very weird new friend with no connection between these two scenes.
Except that they're in the house. I mean,
yes.
Very weird.
And we meet this is Dr. Smythe. Now, unfortunately, they do only refer to him as Dr. Smythe. I was hoping...
They give his full name, Magnus.
St. John, because St. John... The British pronounce that St. John because
I had no idea.
When you colonize and decimate a population, you take some of their pronunciations for your Church of England bullshit. It is Magnus St. John Smythe, and he is MADD PhD. And Max introduces him to Uncle Gustav, who is Gustav Van Helsing, MVPU, Max's very patient uncle. Because
he doesn't want this interloper in his home.
Gustav was waiting for Max to bring home like mustard or something. And it's
milk.
Been hours.
I think it was milk or
it was
cream.
Milk.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. So here we get Max bragging about how cool Smythe is and how he knows about vampires.
He's a believer. He keeps calling people believers, which is weird. Don't like.
Okay. So basically the difference between somebody like Gustav, who uses old school crosses and stakes, and Smythe is that Smythe goes to Radio Shack and builds useless like electronic devices that
it's Ghostbusters. It's Ghostbusters, but for vampires. Yeah.
On a Radio Shack budget. And so basically he has made a sonar frequency long range detector is what I've written down.
Mm-hmm.
And Gustav sort of makes fun of it because he already knows what it is. So.
Yeah. Oh, and that was really, I thought that was funny when he puts the headphones on and he's like, "Oh, we can detect a bat shrieking at X number of miles or whatever." And then Gustav starts whistling it really high pitched and it busts his ears. It was so funny. I loved that. He's busting his balls. I like Uncle Gustav on this one, except for the fake facial hair later, but
Okay. So yeah, the incredible fucking backstory to this. So the doctor has to leave though, so he goes and he broke Gustav's vase. So Gustav's gonna have to put together the vase. Very sad. And so we cut to Lucard Industries. No establishing shot, which I was sad about.
yeah.
And Lucard is giving a promotion to one of his scientists who is also wearing a bow tie.
Mm-hmm.
So in Dracula the series, if you are a scientist, you wear a bow tie.
Yeah.
And he is getting this promotion for his work on sunscreen. It has changed Lucard's life, which means this is not playing by Bram Stoker's Dracula vampires during the daytime rules. It is playing by Dracula the series rules that vampires need to be wearing sunscreen to go out in the day.
Yeah.
Interesting information to get on episode 4. Will
Yes.
not be the last bit of information we will get this episode. But we then get Lucard turning him into a vampire with a 45-second teeth shot.
Again, I kind of understand practically with those teeth in, but they never speak when they have their teeth, when they have their vampire teeth.
Hurts too much to talk.
So, I mean, it's weird, but I guess that would explain why how many hours did he spend in a makeup chair getting all made up and then just to chomp down on somebody's neck? No, you got to milk it. I wonder if that's the actor's choice.
Oh, those are some words to use in relation to this series. Okay, so then we cut, speaking of acting, then we cut to Sophie and Chris walking around scenic Luxembourg talking about going on what if they did go on a date?
What is there to do around here?
Sophie wants to go to a museum or to an open air cafe, and Chris thinks those both are shitty ideas in his Canadian accent. So
if I were to take somebody out, where would I take them out to?
Around here, where could you go out?
Where could you go
he's
out?
Never had this much trouble before, but all of a sudden, once he starts getting the love on, he can't hold his accent.
Yeah.
And so yes, and they're like, if I took you to that cafe, you could order anything you wanted.
And so they agree to go, but it's not a date. We're just two people going to the same restaurant at the same time, sitting together, enjoying a meal. Perfectly acceptable. I mean, I think I understand the awkwardness of being a teenager and having a crush on a boy or wanting to go out on a date, but this was it's just stupid. Like, you guys live together. Why? Like, you can be attracted to each other, but you don't need to like go through all of this belabored conversation to.
She's just walking along. Chris, this one time at band camp, Chris, and he's like, man, I wish Luxembourg girls were slutty like American girls. And then he walks away. End of scene,
yeah.
Okay. Then we cut to something so dumb that I ended up having to text you about it. Max goes to see Dr. Smythe's lab. He walks in. He presumably went to a building where this lab is. And he's like, goes into the lab, has no comment other than, wow, this is a cool place. Everybody here believes in vampires. And the doctor's like, nope, just me. I'm making my laser gun, an anti-vampire gun. And it makes them into vampire flambe. And he shoots a standee of a Dracula drawing.
Which was made out of a vampire coffin.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what he said. It was made out of a vampire's coffin, from the wood of a vampire's coffin.
Why does he have another one at the end of the episode?
He knows a lot of vampires.
Okay, well, I guess that's less. I mean, it's like you can destroy a vampire's prop. I don't know.
But here's the thing. You shoot a gun, something that has the energy of the sun in it, at a piece of wood, and it's going to go up in flames, you would think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a logical thing to think. It doesn't have to be made out of a vampire's coffin.
Hopefully. My note is it's Elon Musk's handheld flamethrower, actually. Hopefully those jokes will be dated by the time we finish this season. It seems like It's possible. Fingers crossed.
Got a lot more season to go.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, so then the doctor's got to go meet with the money people.
Mm-hmm.
And Max is going to hang out or something or go home. And they walk past a suspicious looking janitor who looks like he's spying on Smythe for some reason.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Where does Dr. Smythe go to meet with the money person?
Lucard
Presumably
Industries.
upstairs to the rest of Lucard Industries, because they were in a Lucard Industries lab.
Max has been there before.
Max has been there before. Max has been there as a guest. Max has been there as a hostage. Max missed that it was Lucard Industries thing, and instead he will be surprised later, sort of. I mean, I'm not sure that the actor is capable of expressing surprise, but in theory, he would be surprised. So Smythe is like, okay, the gun's ready to go. Lucard's like, how about I take a look at it this evening, just as long as you haven't told anybody about it. And so Smythe says, well, I haven't told anyone. He's like, well, actually, I did tell a little boy. And
Lucard's ears perk up.
Yes, because it's the Jeffrey Epstein.
It was so creepy.
The whole thing.
Little boy.
Like, little boy, you say? And to which Smythe goes, yes, he's keen as mustard on vampires.
Is he from around here?
Oh, he is, but he's got a stuffy old uncle who won't let him play with me.
So creepy.
Bring the little fellow along tonight.
Yeah.
But don't mention my name.
I want to be anonymous.
Yes. Oh. Okay. So somebody says, and then it's really funny because Dracula makes fun of Smythe saying something spiffing.
Spiffing, yeah.
Yeah.
So this episode to me, and especially this guy, Smythe, reminded me of an old episode of Doctor Who. Like the whole thing. Like spilling stuff out of his bag and like and Van Helsing is in this case the doctor. He's Pat Troughton's doctor, just listening to this guy who thinks he knows everything tell him what he's going to do, and the actuality, the doctor, i.e. Helsing, is going to save the day. It's, with his traditional ways. It's really, really kind of goofy, and that was like the only thing that kept me from hating it. This episode was that it reminded me of a Pat Troughton Doctor Who.
Okay, so now we get to Chris and Sophie's Not a Date.
Oh boy. Ugh. I have written down, how many times is Max going to walk by?
3. He's going to walk by 3 times.
3 times. How long is this date?
Well,
Jesus Christ.
So they're at their open air Luxembourgian cafe, and it turns out that Chris ordered pig's feet, which I'm not sure is a Luxembourgian delicacy, and he's not thrilled about getting that.
No.
So he's whining on the pretend date with Sophie, and ruining her time. Then this was really weird because she's like, it's going to ruin our date. And Chris is like, this isn't a date. And you're like,
yeah.
damn. Yep.
Looks
she's mortified.
So sad. Oh yes. My God.
This show is basically just about this girl throwing herself at this doofus and him rejecting her while bitching that she doesn't throw herself at him.
Yeah. This is it's so sad. That look on her face. My heart, like literally my heart broke for her in that moment. It's like, oh my God. Oh.
So then we see Max, and I thought she saw him too.
I did too. Because she's looking directly at him.
Right.
She never moves her eyes like just to the distance to make it seem like she saw him either. It was really weird.
It was really weird. And she says, basically, she's like, wouldn't it be terrible if Max walked by and saw us, and then they would know that we were on a date, and that would like legitimize this as a date, even if you don't think it is. That's not what she's saying. She's actually saying it would be terrible if Max saw us, because then he would think we were on a date and we're not, because you just told me we weren't. So when they then see him, they have to dive under the table, to which the other people in the restaurant are watching them amused, but not like,
What the hell is going on?
yeah, it's like it's not enough of a comedy beat, but it is like more of one than the show's usually successful for. So
Yeah.
it's weird. Okay. So then Max goes to the lab and he's meeting with Dr. Smythe, but the laser's not working. It's out of energy. And Smythe thought he had another transponder, but he can't find it in his bag. And Max is like, maybe it's in my house. And Smythe's like, why would it be at your house, you stupid fucking kid? Like, he gets so pissed at him.
And then he's because remember, you bumbling idiot, a bunch of shit fell out of your bag.
And he's like,
my house.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This guy's
go get it for me. And Max is like, okay, running past the suspicious janitor again. Okay. We cut to Sophie and Chris's Not a Date, where Chris is describing a Mel Gibson movie to her involving a grenade, which theoretically would have to be a Lethal Weapon movie, but I don't remember if there's any grenades in it. Maybe Road Warrior? Were there grenades in Road Warrior?
Asking the wrong gal.
Why are you looking at me like that? We didn't know he was a complete piece of shit back then.
No, that's fine. I've just never seen it. I've never been a Mel Gibson fan.
Aren't you special? Wow. Must be nice not to have a problematic nostalgia. Emily, Charles Wallace Shawn. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, ouch. Don't bring Wally into this.
Okay. Well, he'll be a guest star before the end. He might be a regular on season 4 of Evil. You might have to watch it. He might be their boss on
But isn't
Evil.
it bad, Evil?
I mean, it's competently produced and well acted, but yeah, I mean, it's...
I like what's his name. I've got a crush on what's his name.
Wallace Shawn. Yes, I know. I just said that.
Shut up.
You just want to rub that head for luck. Okay. Okay. So this is the content, folks. This is the content.
It's 2 days before Christmas. Give us a break.
Okay, and there's no Dracula Christmas episode, so we were really bummed to find that out. Okay, so we cut to Lucard. Okay, no, he tells them about the grenade, and then they have to go dive under the table. So it's like the diving under the table becomes part of the grenade story.
Yeah.
Max looks dead at them, apparently doesn't see them, and walks on.
Because he's conveniently has to tie his shoe right in front of the cafe.
That's really I bet Max's shoes come untied every 3
he doesn't know how to do it right, so
he doesn't know how to do it right. Like, this kid has put Velcro on wrong. Like, okay. So we cut to Lucard visiting Smythe and
giving him shit because Smythe is trying to stall him. Lucard,
yeah,
and Lucard is catching on and not very happy about it.
And what's important to Lucard is time and motion, because they create money.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, so yes, this is very much Lucard as Gordon Gekko from Wall Street, like but there's a moment where Smythe does the "for sake of a nail, the shoe was lost" quote, and Lucard finishes it, and I was really hoping they'd kick off some Shakespeare bickering, but no Klaus romance this episode.
Aww.
So Max is riding his bicycle back,
and he runs over something, and it apparently pops the tire. It seemed like it still was full of air when he squeezed it. I don't know.
But he needs to stop again in front of the cafe, where now Chris and Sophie are eating on the ground. Waka, waka, waka.
So not funny. So not funny. Why would you choose a restaurant that's right in the path of where people are always traveling? If you don't,
why can't Chris like Sophie either? Like, there's all sorts of. It's just a wonderful mix of passive misogyny, toxic masculinity, and other things. Though we did comment that if this were free spirit,
yeah, her body would be found.
Yeah, we'd have a very
Weeks
special
later.
episode about how the older one, just couldn't take no for an answer, and so
Yeah.
the little brother and dad had to help him with the body, and then Whitty found her and resurrected her, and I was like,
got rid of all of her memories.
Got rid of all of her memories, and you were like, so, but the boys wouldn't have learned the lesson. I was like, they learned the lesson, they could get away with it. Yeah, that is the lesson. That is the lesson 1990 wanted to teach a white man. Like, get rid of the body, get a woman to co-sign on your assault, and you are fine. Okay, bringing us out of the. We need to find a show that doesn't have a problematic teenage boy.
Okay.
We need to stop watching shows from 1990.
Yeah,
I think is kind of the thing. Though I did not go down the path of Nick from Freaks and Geeks, because like one of those episodes where he was like creepy.
Stalking her.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you have to listen to the entire show to get all these references, folks. Backlog time over your Christmas break.
Yeah.
So Dracula has revealed himself to Smythe, who then runs for the door, opens it, and finds the scientist from earlier, who I was like, is this guy even coming back, or do they just need a scene for Dracula?
Yeah.
But no, he's back, and he's a vampire.
Is that Dr. Benedict?
That is Dr. Benedict.
Lee McDougal. What a great name. He looks like a McDougal.
He does. And Dr. Smythe is like, hey, man, we're both members of the fraternity. Could you let me out of here? But no, Dr. Smythe does not let him out of there.
Not Dr. Smythe.
Not Dr. Smythe. Dr. Benedict.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Dracula hangs Dr. Smythe up on a hook to get him out of the scene. Basically, and goes and after doing that, then goes and stands by his standee. So he sets himself up for a reveal when Max comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It is if they had shown Dracula being like, oh, there's Max, let me sneak over here by my standee, it would be great. If this show were actually about Dracula trying to terrorize a little kid and like we see all the stupid shit he does to be scary, great show.
Yeah.
Not this show. It's time for your knee kick.
Oh, yeah. So, no, it's not quite time, because so Max comes in and Dracula reveals himself to Max, and he's copying the same pose as the standee. Yeah. He's copying the standee, and I forget exactly what happens, but they're going to capture Max. They have Dr. Benedict capture Max. And so Dr. Benedict runs up to him or walks slowly, because he's like a fucking brain dead. Walks slowly up to Max. And then for no necessary reason, except for maybe the guy didn't want to get kicked in the knee, they zoom in to show Max kicking this guy. Or maybe Max couldn't actually do the kicking. Why did they zoom in? There's no need to zoom.
Let's talk about something else. How much does it hurt if you kick dead flesh?
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah. He's a vampire now. Like, Max can't kick him hard enough to throw off his center of gravity. Like, the guy's literally dead weight. He's a flesh bag. He's decaying flesh. Okay, but that actually is not my vampire logic thing. But why did they zoom in?
But why did they zoom in?
Because it's a terrible
So either the actor playing Max couldn't kick, the guy playing Dr. Benedict didn't want to get kicked, so they had somebody replacing them, or it's just bad directing. There's no need to zoom in.
I think it's just bad directing.
Is this Eastman again?
It is Eastman again.
Okay. It really bothered me, but I watched it twice. Both times it was like, why did they do that? It's so stupid. That was really loud. I apologize.
It's okay. Your thesis on Alan Eastman's oeuvre will have a whole new chapter. Okay, so we're just gonna move around here quick, because there's fighting antics. There's Smythe on the hook telling people to do stuff. Max has got to plug
Max
the
has got to pull him.
transponder in. No, he doesn't pull him down till later, but he
Yeah.
moves him. Like they move. It's a very cluttered action scene
Mhm.
because then we reveal the janitor's there and it's Gustav.
And he rips off all of his fake facial hair except for his
Yep.
unibrow.
And so then he grabs a couple. Okay, so Max has shot Benedict with the gun and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
But then Gustav grabs a couple pieces of metal, holds them as a cross, and tells Max to fire. When Max does, that fuses the metal into a cross.
Right.
Bringing back my point. If he just makes a cross, like every fucking hammered Dracula, by holding two sticks together and keeping them held, which I believe they also do in Monster Squad, that doesn't work in Dracula the series. They need to actually be a self-supported or fused cross.
And back to the Cross of the Magyars episode, doesn't it have to be blessed?
No, that's to protect the whole house.
Okay.
This is just the cross for fighting vampires. So
he throws some holy water on the
he's throwing once he started throwing the holy water, I realized it was Gustav for sure. And I was like, oh, this episode's gonna suck. Okay. Yeah. So
But he's beating the boffin using his antiquated methods, and it's working.
Well, he's yes-ish. I mean, it's working now, but he does need the boffin's help because he didn't bring a cross.
Right.
If he just got a huge tattoo cross on his chest, wouldn't that work?
I don't know. But then we'd have to see him shirtless. Come on.
I mean, we did have to see quite a bit of chest in this one. Gustav's shirt button's just above his belly button. That dude is really sure ladies think that dude is really sure moms watch the show with Junior for him, and it's just like, I don't think so. That's fucking weird, dude. You gotta stop, dude. Okay, so they rescue Smythe. They hold the vampires at bay. As they run out, solidifying how stupid the episode is, Gustav says, Mr. Lucard, I need to tender my resignation from your employ in your laboratory. And it's like, so Max really went to Lucard Industries.
Not realizing that he was in Lucard Industries where he'd been before, where a vampire lives and works.
Okay. Cut to back home. Smythe is back in England. They hope that he'll work on his, gun to get it working. It's unclear at this point. I didn't realize that they left the gun behind.
Yeah.
Because why the fuck would you leave it behind? It's a portable handheld flamethrower. Why wouldn't you take it with you? Okay. So then we find out that Max did see Chris and Sophie on a date and he didn't give a shit. But they're mortified. Sophie in particular is mortified that she was on the
even
date.
Says it, and then there's the group is laughing for no reason. It's
like the end of Auto Man. But then
it works better on video, folks.
Oh yeah, this show could be so much better if they'd let us edit it. So then we cut to Lucard and Benedict at are they by a fire? Yes.
Yeah, it's at his castle. There's an establishing shot of the castle.
And Lucard's like, how you feeling? And Benedict's like, I feel great. And then he vaporizes because the gun is a delayed action vampire gun. To which Lucard goes, oh, I'm in possession of the world's only delayed action vampire hunting gun. And he throws it in the fire. Scene.
Yeah. So the delayed reaction vampire gun thing, man, that was stupid. And also, this guy's back in England, and presumably he has all of the materials and all the notes that he needs to know how to remake it.
Yeah.
And also, if the Boffin, specifically Smythe, if he is hunting vampires, you would think he would know a Van Helsing. Is the Helsing thing just he's from a family of vampire hunters, but you would think that other people in the same business, regardless of the technique, would know who he was.
Have we established that we've established that Dracula as a fiction, like the novel exists, right?
It must, because there were times when what's his name, Max, was going, "It's the Dracula."
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't get the Dracula's autograph.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you would think that being attacked by actual vampires would light a fire under the boffin's ass to make his vampire hunting gun. Yeah, apparently it doesn't.
But why doesn't he know who Van Helsing is? He should.
Well,
he should.
He, at the very least, he should be like, oh shit, like the book. Like,
yeah.
I
find this all baffling. The universe that this exists in is so baffling.
It's almost like it's a terribly written Canadian show.
Almost.
It's almost like that. So yeah, the episode was rather disappointing. The synopsis online made it sound like Chris and Sophie were going on an actual date, which basically went unresolved. Like, the resolution to it was Chris was like, "Oh, girls, they're so gross. I want a slut."
Yeah,
and that was it.
And Sophie's like, I can be slutty. I can do that.
This one time at band camp, Chris, he's like, "Shut up, Sophie. Shut up."
When the first episode, he's like losing his mind over how attractive she is. Whatever. This might be the fastest we've gotten through.
How long have we been going?
46 minutes.
It is the fastest, but only by about 10 minutes. It's just not I mean, it's bad. It's got some good, bad stuff, but it doesn't have the terribleness we need.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have Dracula at the end of every scene saying something stupid. Like, we only get that once.
They haven't got like the Sam Raimi Evil Dead formula right yet. Or ever. They never will, but it could be something like that, though. It could just be some cheesy horror show that's scary, but also funny. But it's never going to be that.
It's never going to be that. Anything else about it? Let's see. Gustav's barely in it. Smythe does not pay off. That's it. That's the episode.
That's it.
It's 22 minutes. It's almost like it was a cartoon.
Yeah. It's very weird. But we found out what a boffin is. Not
from the episode, because the episode thinks we're smarter than we are.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not smarter. I wish I was smarter. The next episode has
Wallace Shawn.
No, there's no Wallace Shawn. It's called Double Darkness. Ooh, this is good. I'm not going to spoil it, though.
Okay.
Episode 5 next week. We're doing this next week, right?
Yep.
And I'm excited. I'm a little bit more excited because there's another vampire. Another famous vampire, let's say.
Famous vampire in Dracula, the series' terms of famous?
A vampire that you've heard of.
Wallace Shawn?
Yeah, Wallace Shawn is not a vampire. Wally's not a vampire. How dare you? How dare you? How very dare you? Speak ill of the dead. He's not dead.
He's not dead. Wow.
He's not dead.
Right, he's a vampire.
He's not a vampire. Okay. Enough of this nonsense. Thank you all for listening to this episode of Dracula, of Onesies, where we talk about Dracula the series from 1990. Join us next week when we talk about episode 5, Double Darkness. Aired on October 27th, 1990. 22 minutes. Great. That'll be very exciting. Thank you and see you then. Bye.
Wallace Shawn's a vampire.